All right, I think we're live. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Uh, to no one, everyone, probably no one because no one watches these streams. That's all right. This is more for myself, but everyone is welcome to join. It's a little cathartic letting out of what's happened today and trying to analyze it through perhaps a little bit of a filter of yoga and through the Yamas and Niyamas, trying to understand why we should care or not care about certain subjects. What do they mean to us? Do they mean anything? Should they mean anything? All of these things are ultimately left up to you, the viewer, of course. However, I will say that there are some universal truths um, that I believe as a society we should adhere to. One of those things is freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is very important. When we look into different and I'm going to bear away from any one ideology here, but when we look into a lot of different ideologies, uh, as far as religious or as far as perhaps just social ideologies, I find that a lot of the ideologies that we hold to today do not lift up freedom of speech. They just don't. A lot of the ideologies that some people hold today, they think that censorship is key in order to elevate their own message while diminishing another's. Now, if you think that that is an appropriate way to put out your message in the world, I'm going to have to tell you to hold up. Stop. Just stop right now. These are the kind of things that so many people in the world today are getting very angry about. And I, like many others, are very tolerant of people. We love others, very empathetic towards others, very sympathetic to others. It is what it is. Like, we're just agreeable people. It's part of the psychology, our temperament, part of our character. It does not mean that you get to abuse us because we're agreeable. The time of that is over. I'd like to put that out there now. This is as calmly as I'm gonna put that out there. I don't know where some of these my fellow human beings some of my fellow human beings think that they can censor my speech or other people's speech based on what? Their political party? Their skin color? Their gender? And by the way, there's only 2 genders. Just gonna put that out there because fucking biology is real. Didn't mean to curse there, sorry. But that's one of those subjects that just again, we're all nice people until we're pushed into a corner. Once you're pushed into a corner, what do you become? Well, you survive. Essentially, we're all animals deep down. Human beings are still biological humans. Animals. We have a big brain. Some of us use it well, some of us not so much. But the fact of the matter is that we all get to choose how we interact with the world. Now, if you do that in a pleasant way, a diplomatic way, and try to convince people with argument rather than telling them what to do, we can all get along. If, however, you're part of the authoritarians who demand people follow what you say without question, there's going to be problems, many problems. These problems are going to be everywhere. They're going to be endemic to the society. There's going to be no coming back from this. There are two ways to run a society. One of them, not so good, but proven to work, is authoritarianism, such as in North Korea. I've studied it extensively. I know Korean. I'm a veteran. I went through the military and was trained in the branch of the military that uh, likes to edit things, right? They're called the intelligence wing of the military. They founded propaganda, at least in this country, in my opinion. I don't know. I'm sure propaganda existed way before that. But the what they did is interesting. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about whatever I've seen because I don't want to get into that kind of world. It's not important. It's out there on the internet. Um, the government's not your friend, is what I will have to tell you. Uh, what I personally witnessed is the fact that our government likes to lie to people in order to manipulate them. It's propaganda. It's obvious propaganda. Now, we used to use that only against other countries, as far as I knew, when I was in the military, which was back in the early 2000s. However, I am absolutely positive that propaganda has been used on this country for, I don't know how long now. It doesn't matter. Propaganda is being used. They're trying to manipulate you. This is not okay. But at the same time, it's to be expected. People are going to try to change your mind based on whatever their ideology is or their motives are. I think that one of the most important things that we can take away from everything that's going on here, and by this, I'm going to bring in the acquisition of Twitter by Elon Musk, is the fact that we have a possibility here of perhaps shining some light on some of these situations, some of these things that have been happening in our world, which are not truthful. They're lies. People are lying to our face. They're they call it gaslighting now, essentially. Trying to lie to your face and then make you believe that the lie is truth is gaslighting. That's the definition. Trying to manipulate you. These people do this every day, constantly. They're all over the place. Um, I would have to say that at this point in time, there's really nothing you can do to stop any of this. The only thing that you can do is try to reach out and wake people up, which is why I make these videos every once in a while. I haven't done one in a while because no one comes and watches them, but it's good for my own mental health. Um, just to document where I'm at, make sure that I'm still okay. I'm still reaching out there. I'm trying to do stuff. I will get back to doing yoga on this channel very soon. I know that no one is asking for that, but I need to do it again for my own mental health. So, um, yeah, I'm gonna be. Long story short, there's been a lot of physical problems that I've had to get over in the past year, and so my yoga practice has suffered. It was very sad. And the year before that was uh, another bad year, but it was not physical, it was mental. So, again, I'm not going to share too much about my personal life here because this is the internet. But these past 2 years have not been kind to what I would like to call my progress towards something better, towards bettering myself. It's been a backslide. So, and I freely admit that it is what it is. We all we all stumble and fall, and I stumbled and I fell, and now I have to climb back up. So, yes, in the future, there's going to be more yoga videos on this channel, and they're for everyone who's just starting yoga, this will be perfect for you because these are going to be very, very light work, introductional material as far as just getting into yoga, starting the movements, warming up the body. Um, and I'm doing this, like I said before, because it's a rehabilitation for myself, but also it will be instructional for a lot of people who perhaps are coming off of an injury or perhaps a sickness, or maybe they haven't worked out for a while. These streams are going to be building up from my current self to back, hopefully, to where I was and surpassing where I was 2 years ago, which um, is going to take some, dedication and work, but it's possible and we're going to do it. Yes. So there's that. Now, as far as free speech is something that I believe a lot in. I am, I don't consider myself someone who likes to uh, indulge um, in words or speech that is maybe a little spicy. I just don't do it as a rule. I'm more of a proper dude, I guess. Um, I just don't see any meaning behind behind cursing all the time, or um, trying to rip on people all the time. Like, that's just not part of my personality. I understand some people find that boring, and you may be right. I may be a boring person, which is why I have nobody on my YouTube stream. And other people who use spicy language and, they like to say all kinds of gamer words or whatever you want to call them nowadays. These people may have more subscribers, of course, because people are going to watch that. Eh, It's, I don't care. I don't do this. I don't know why I do this, really. I feel a need to, I suppose. What I will say is that we need free speech. No matter how much you yourself use the speech, we need free speech. Like, if somebody comes around and calls me like a Nazi or a colonizer or whatever, a cracker, because I'm a white dude, or many other fucking horrible terms out there, I of course I care. I'm not gonna say I don't care because I find them offensive that you would judge me on my skin color and the fact that I'm a man and then call me a name. I find that to be extremely offensive. I find it to be racist. I find it to be sexist that you would fucking do that. And again, I don't like to use spicy words, but I will use them when they're required. And in that case, they were required because I'm tired of these people who think that it's okay to do that because I'm a white guy. Do I go in there and tell you all this horrible stuff all the time? No, I don't. Not only because I don't think that way, like, because I don't. Even if I did think that way, which I don't, I would restrain myself because of public decorum. But no, we live in a world where crazy people, insane people, they're mentally ill, retards sometimes. And I don't mean to disparage against people. I'm demeaning these stupid people. Okay? They're dumb, retarded, who think that they can just come out and because of what skin color they are or what gender they are, they can just come out against white men. Just fucking trash them because they're a protected class, by the way. I'm not a protected class. I don't think I have been my entire life. I've only gotten scorn for who and what I am. I've never been elevated because I'm a white dude, ever. No one's been like, "Oh, you're a white guy? Here, have this promotion." But guess what? I know women who have that happen to them. I know people of other ethnicities who have had that happen to them because they just happen to check the fucking box. Is that fair? No. That's the world we live in today, and I'm supposed to keep my mouth shut. Well, guess what? I won't. My mouth is open, spurting truths. What are you gonna do about it? There's plenty of us out there. There are people getting tens of thousands of views. S- They're just speaking truth. I'd be getting no one, but that's because no one wants to hear from me. I don't really bring much, and that's okay. I understand that. I'm not really trying to make this anything more than it is. I just want something on the record. I want people to understand how some of us feel. Us peons. Ever since I was a teenager and I started to learn about our system, I realized that I was an indentured servant. I was born into indentured servitude. The only way to get out of this indentured servitude was to somehow get rich, because then maybe I wouldn't have to work every freaking day of my life in order to just eke out a meager existence and then maybe retire. For a lot of us, that doesn't happen. And I'm one of those people. You know, I'm not going to criticize people who make it big. Hey, you were in the right place at the right time. That's awesome. I I'm not saying that these people shouldn't have what they have. What I'm saying is that not all of us are afforded those opportunities. Some of us don't have those opportunities ever presented to us. Some people are really smart or really talented. They never get the opportunity to show that. Does that make them lesser? Because they work in a menial job to make a living, but yet they have a talent. That doesn't make them lesser. That doesn't make their opinion less. That doesn't make what they say less. Everyone should be judged on the content of their speech. What do they say? What do they believe? What do they do? Even is more, I would say. Again, getting back to some of the um now these are fundamental truths that are written into yoga as well as other fundamental religions. Now yoga is not a religion, which is why I love it and I follow it. Mostly because of the physical things, but also because of the 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 philosophy behind yoga. But there are a lot of religions that also teach the same philosophies, and they're good philosophies. They're philosophies that everyone should be able to wrap their heads around. The don't lie to people. These this should be obvious. Do we have to reinforce this over and over again? Like, don't lie? Don't come out and openly lie to people? Don't try to manipulate them? Why? Why do we keep having to come back out and say this over and over again? I really think that there needs to be some sort of criminal action that's taken against people that lie like this. Like little white lies, whatever, lie lying at a judicial level or a federal level needs to be punished um in somewhat extreme forms, I think. Like we can't have people lying in these arenas anymore, right? I mean, a great example of this is the Juicy or Jussie Smollett case, where this black man, he lied about having uh a crime against him done in a racial sense, and then he lied in court about it. And then when they sentenced him, he cried in jail and they released him because I guess he's a protected class. I don't know anymore. The people like that should be locked up for years, in my opinion. He lied about things that are going to divide the country. He lied about hate crimes between white people and black people. You think that's not divisive nowadays? You're living in a fantasy world. These are the most divisive stories out there. They fracture the bedrock of what the United States of America is, the melting pot. We are an experiment. The United States of America is an experiment in whether or not different ethnicities from around the world can live together. Whether or not different ideologies can get along in the same foundation. Now, this experiment is ongoing. We don't know what's gonna happen. I will say this, though, where there's a few other places out there that are getting integrated or whatever you wanna call it. There's a lot more different ideologies and whatnot coming into them, but they were always ethno-states before this, right? Most countries are and were ethno-states. Only in the United States of America was not, because we were founded upon many different people coming uh into this land and developing it together. So we're unique in that sense. So we have an advantage. Other countries do not have this advantage. And so they're either falling further back into being an ethno state, or they're being taken over by an outside force, right? Because other ideologies are taking their acceptance as weakness. And so they're just steamrolling all their laws in said countries. Great Britain is a great example. Uh, England, where the Islamists seem to like just they have full reign over there because no one wants to talk anything bad about them. Apparently, it's illegal to even say that there's a problem with people of a certain religion called Islam. It's called fucking Islam, burning down things or being hateful to other groups. No, you can say that. Everyone's an asshole. All humans are flawed. It's just like here in America, where we're like, oh, black people can't be racist. Yeah, that's fucking stupid. Black people can be super racist, just like white people or Asian people or other people from around the fucking globe. Everyone can be equally supremely racist if they fucking feel like it. Should you? No, you shouldn't. I don't know what's going on with my camera. It keeps flashing green and red. I don't know what that is. My light's the same. Maybe it's just my camera. Anyway, I'll have to fix that later. It's probably because I have low light tonight, but I don't like the bright light. I live in a cave. I I'm one of the basement dwellers. Oh, shit. I mean, it's truth, but I love it. I've To be honest with you, I've lived underground most of my life, and I find security in it. Maybe I'm weird. It is what it is. Um, I you know, I like sleeping above ground too, but it's weird to me now when I I like silence. In caves and underground, you find silence and darkness, which I enjoy. Not because I'm because and it's not because I don't wanna be around people or anything like that. People are great. Um, but I do like silence, and I don't know, darkness remind without darkness, there is no light, right? I don't know, it's better to be able to turn on a light than not being able to turn it off, in my opinion. But maybe that's because I live in the light abundant world that we live in today, where the sun is shining and everything is beautiful. And, if we lived in uh, a world where you couldn't see the sun or something like that, I'm sure that I would not think that if I couldn't just go outside and bask in the radiance of the sun. However, we do live in that world, so I like caves where I can go and it's quiet and dark. Anyway, it's a little bit about myself. So, yeah, Elon Musk buying Twitter, it doesn't really have much to do with yoga, but it does have to do, in my opinion, uh, with some of the Yamas and Niyamas of yoga. Um, the first one of which is very obvious, right? Uh, the Yama Satya, or truthfulness. Now, this is the second Yama, which means that it's essentially one of the first ones, right? The only one before this is ahimsa, which is nonviolence. So, nonviolence, truthfulness, top two, right? Should be obvious. Most religions teach this. Yoga teaches this, which is also, again, I would say that it's not a religion. Um, I I always like to think of yoga as a structure around which one can possibly build uh, their life, their daily movements. Um, it's much like a religion in the sense that you have something that you can come back to every day. Whereas otherwise you're just out there churning around doing things, blah blah blah, like going to social media, going over here, going over there. At least there's something that you can come back to. I have to do my meditation, I have to do my practice today, I have to study some of uh what have people before me that are much smarter than me laid down. Because that's one of the most important things that I believe we're facing right now is the fact that some people nowadays, and I'm not sure if I want to peg them down into an age bracket or not. I think that they may span many age groups, but for some reason they think that they're smarter than the people that came before them. And so they think that, hey, it's a great idea to change what people in the past did in order to fit modernity or modern sensibilities, whatever that may be. Um, we should do that in order to make it better. Stop doing that. Everyone who's doing that, stop. Just stop. Stop. You can't improve on things that have already been created. You can you can look at those things and then make different theories or expand upon them. Sure, of course. You can't go back and change them now. They've already been created. I I think that that's the problem that I'm seeing right now. There's a disconnect, okay? We stand on the shoulders of giants in order to create what we do today. We have to acknowledge that. People before us who existed in their time and were brilliant set all these stairs leading up to this point. They raised society up to this point. And yet now we think that we can go back and change those stairs that raised us back up. That's not a good plan, man. If you try to go back down the stairs and change the stairs, you may destroy the stairs. Don't do that. We build upward. We don't go back down and try to change the foundations. That's not a good idea. Wine time. I'm getting a little thirsty. So, pardon me. Need a little water too. And so, what should we be getting out of this? Well, the fact of the matter is, we are standing on the shoulders of giants. If we decide to go down and bust out those giants' kneecaps, we're all going to come tumbling down. That's it. It's an easy analogy. And some of the people in our society today have decided that everything needs to be uh, upgraded or modernized in order to fit in with modern sensibilities. Now, of course, you're asking yourself, what are these modern sensibilities? Well, it's very interesting that you asked because I myself don't exactly know. All I can say is that they've been trying to hide this stuff from people for years now, maybe even a decade. It may have been going on since like 2010 or 2012. I don't even know now. I I don't want to speak too much because again, these are all um unverified rumors at this point. Mostly because people who uh mostly because our government is a shadow organization. Let's just put it that way. Our freaking government is a shadow organization right now, which that tells you all you need to know. Essentially, they're evil. It's like we're living in the empire right now. I definitely felt we were freer under Trump than Biden. Biden, and I don't want to get too political on this channel, but the amount of the effects that I have felt in the past couple years since he took his presidency have been the worst effects that I've ever felt in my 40 years of life. Ever. Worst worst time ever. This guy sucks. And his administration, him, they probably want to blame it on Trump. It's not Trump's fault. It's not Trump's fault. Everything was going good until they all started to attack him. I don't know. I don't know. It just seemed like I was having a good time. I was making a lot of money. I was really having a good time, and the economy was good. My economy, as well as the United States, is it's not doing so good right now. You know, not doing so good. They cut me all these checks. They cut me all these checks because I lost my business. I lost my business, and then they cut me checks, which were a pittance compared to what I would be making at my business. But I'm supposed to be thankful. But then, of course, they charged me this year, even though I make nothing now. I only have my regular job, because by the way, I had 2 jobs before. I still would have 2 jobs, except physically not capable of doing that right now. So, in a pretty bad spot. In a pretty bad spot. So, here we find ourselves. 2022, April 27th. What can I say except I really hope that things start turning around soon. I'm starting to feel better physically in my own life right now. Other areas will hopefully come back as I recover. Um, but again, I don't know. I don't know why some people seem to think that they can talk down to people like me from their freaking palaces. These people out there who are black women or just women who think that they can fucking denigrate me because I'm a white dude? Why? I don't try? I'm evil because of who I am? Like, they live in million-dollar mansions, and then they talk about being freaking oppressed. How hard do you work? I just like a little equality rather than goddamn equity. Because you know what equity means? It means that I have to sacrifice what I do for someone else. That's what equity means. Because I'm a white male, I need to give my shit away to somebody else because of equity. Well, fuck that. How about equality where everyone works and then we all get what we we earn rather than me working and giving things over. That sounds like slavery to me. It sounds like I'm a slave now. I'm not only an indentured servant, now I'm a slave. White slavery 2022. Yay, Biden. Fuck you. Sorry. Gotta Ugh. Again. Damn it. I don't like to go down those dark places, but sometimes it just comes out. Anyway, these live streams are not meant to be uncut, or they're meant to be uncut, I mean. They're meant to show me at my best and my weakest, whatever that may be. Um, I don't I don't want to be edited. I don't think anyone should want to be edited, to be curated, to be manicured, you know? We have Weekend at Bernie's going on in the White House right now. He's not in charge of anything. Think he knows what's going on? I just saw him being directed around by an Easter bunny the other day. Joe Biden has no idea what's going on. It's retarded. I think he's losing it for sure. Has he lost it completely? I don't know. And Kamala Harris, technically, I should say nothing about her because I'm a white man and she's a black woman. And so I can't fucking say anything. I can't criticize her. I can't say that she's not doing a good job. Otherwise, guess what they're going to call me? I can already predict it. I can tell you right now they're going to call me a Nazi and a racist. That's par for the course nowadays. But I will say this, she's a diversity hire. It's proven. Joe Biden said that he was going to pick a black woman for his vice president. He admitted it. I mean, the definition of a diversity hire. You can't tell me she's not. You're a liar if you do, because I have it on tape. Everyone has it on tape. Videos everywhere. She does a horrible job at everything I've seen. Uh, she can't really even speak to anyone. She talks to them like they're kindergartners or something. And then she laughs maniacally at weird parts of a conversation. I don't know. I never really even knew who she was before Joe Biden picked her. And now she's one step away from being the president if Joe Biden kicks it, which let's just hope that doesn't happen. I don't know what to say. Oh, we're living in a cloud world. Anyway, um, Elon Musk buying Twitter has shaken these people up. It's rattled their cages. But then of course, I talked about Joe Biden and our administration because now they've come back and they've been like, well, we need some sort of censorship. They call it misinformation division. These people and their corpo speaker 1984 speak is just it's out of control at this point in time. You know, it started with the anti-racist people who are just racist against white people, like openly racist. Like when they said they're anti-racist, it just means they're racist against white people. That's all that means. Don't believe them. Like there's no such thing as anti-racist. You have racist, right? That's one position you can take. Or you can do what Martin Luther King Jr. suggested and judge someone by the content of their character. Hmm, brilliant. Who would have thought? Again, we cannot chop the knees out of these giants we're standing on. They built our society up. If we if we chop them down, we fall with them. And people aren't going to like where we fall to because it's going to be bedlam. People don't inherently people don't get along with other people. It just doesn't that's not the way that we operate. I know everyone likes to think that in if everyone just if we had freedom, everyone would just get along. We'd be in a utopia. No, no, that's not how the world works. People have bad actions. A lot of people have bad actions. They have bad tendencies. They take advantage of people. A lot of people prey on other people because guess what? Our eyes are in the front of our heads. We are forward focusing. We are predators. And guess what? Our only prey are each other right now. We don't really prey on any other animals. I mean, maybe in a food way or with cows, but in that case it's like factory but we don't hunt them. We hunt each other. Humans hunt other humans. We don't kill them, but we do other things to them. We manipulate them, we fuck with them, we take advantage of them, we take their money. We do all kinds of things to them because we're predators. Everyone is. Males and females. Doesn't matter who you are. Now, as soon as we get that down and we understand that simple fact, I think that will be a much better society because it will make people not inherently trust others the way that they do now. It's important. Um, People will try to take advantage of you. It's gonna happen. Yeah. Everything is not cookies and cream and milk. We're not eating dessert all the time over here. We're scrounging for scraps. uh, anyway, so with that being said, Elon Musk taking over Twitter means that perhaps at least on Twitter, which has been very skewed and full of bots, at least at least there is one company that we can start going through now. This is very beginning of stage because he hasn't even acquired the company yet. So at this point in time, the deal needs to be settled, and then he needs to start going through the code. He's not going to go through that himself, of course. He's going to hire people to do it. I trust that he'll make the right decisions as far as personnel. Um, but right now we're in a full on. This is the conflagration of this era of the information war. I believe the information war really started when Donald Trump took presidency in 2016. It's been ramping up. 2018, it really changed because people did not like Donald Trump, so they voted in all these authoritarians who disguise themselves as Democrats. They're not really Democrats. They're authoritarian socialists, Marxists. Some of them are even fascists. Like they believe in things like Antifa, which Antifa believes that you should be able to just take over a city. What? How is that allowed in our society? It doesn't make any sense. Like if I was a mayor of a city and somebody was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna take over this part of the city," I'd be like, "Okay, I'm gonna send cops in there and we're gonna take all of you guys and we're gonna lock you up. Period. And if any of you try to resist, we will shoot you because this does not happen in America. You can't just take over a city. You can protest peacefully with bullhorns and signs and whatever. You can't take things over. That's an insurrection. That's what an actual insurrection is, by the way. People out there who think that fucking January 6th was a quote unquote insurrection. That was not an insurrection. Bullshit. What happened in Portland was an insurrection when those fucking people took over parts of our country. That's an insurrection. That's the definition of it. Again, definitions are important. Just like males are adult human biological men, you know, females, males, there's biology, there's definitions. One has a penis, one has a vagina, one has testes, one has ovaries. One, a male becomes a king, a female becomes a queen when they're elevated to royalty, which I fucking hate, by the way. Royalty sucks. But just to define it, just to define it. Yeah, you can't have a woman be a king, nor can you have a man be a queen. Eh, I mean, unless you're talking about in a funny sense, right? Like a drag queen, that's funny. We're not talking about an actual monarch here, you know? If a I don't know, transsexual woman wanted to be a kang or whatever, a drag king or whatever, sure, go ahead. Have fun with that. But to say that like an actual biological female can be a king in a monarchy is I'm sorry, it's stupid. And again, I don't like monarchies, but this is part of this is part of the weird fantasy ideology that's being pushed in our society right now. It's fantasy. It's fantasy. A man cannot become a woman. A woman cannot become a man. A man can't be a queen. A woman can't be a king. Humans can't be trees or dogs or cats or any other any other species on the planet. You can't transition to be a dolphin. South Park had a whole episode on this. It was satire. We all thought it was funny. It was probably made, shit, 8 years ago now, maybe more? It may be a decade old. They were making fun of this. It's reality now. It's not funny. This is not funny anymore. It was funny when it was satire. When a man was like, "I can be a dolphin." That was funny. He went to a plastic surgeon. His son wanted to be black to play basketball. Went to a surgeon. Yeah. Wrap your head around that. We have that in real life now. What is this world we're living in? Where people watch shows that were absolute satire. They were satire. You were supposed to laugh at them. Many of us laughed. Some people took them seriously for some reason. Why? What would you do that? So here we are. Here we are. We're getting to a turning of the tide, I believe, though. And so I would implore everyone to look towards the future with hope, to reject these modern ideologies like you would the plague. Just just reject them. They don't conform to true humanity. They don't they don't let you know who you will be or who you are. Trust me, I've lived long enough on this planet now. I've gone through many different phases. And while I can't speak as someone who is a specialist, um, I will say that in a general way, I've gone through many different iterations of my personality in my 40 years on this earth. Um, and I've been a rebel and an outspoken liberal essentially all my life. I I find it weird to be in the place that I am right now. I don't understand it. Where I have more in common with people who are fundamentalist Christians than I have with Democrats, because the Democrats that I look at are mostly fascists, authoritarians, communists, and socialists who are all not about freedom at all. None of those people are. They don't believe in freedom. None of those people do. All of those people think that you need to be censored, that your actions, your thoughts, your speech need to be regulated and controlled. And to those people, I say, fuck you. I will never bend the knee, ever. I will fight until I am dead. I took an oath when I joined the military to serve and protect the Constitution of the United States, and I will never give up that oath. Come at me. Try to take the freedoms away from people that I love. and mine. I signed up for that voluntarily because I believed after 9/11 that I was doing a good thing protecting this country. Now, I'm not gonna get into all the other things that happened, but I still do believe fundamentally in one thing. We are the greatest country because of the freedoms that we have here. And the second that those freedoms get stripped away, we become lesser than we were before. Do you want your children to live in a lesser society? Do you want to have less in the future rather than more? Would you choose to have less? If your answer is yes, then you can get the fuck out because all I've strived for is to have more. Now, while I haven't ended up with more in the future, I have more than I had in the past, obviously, but not nearly what I would like. But at the same time, I don't want the opportunity to gain more to be stripped from me because of my skin color or gender, for example. No one should fear that. And the fact of the matter is that in our society today, the people with the loudest voices, they're not oppressed. The people with the loudest voices are never oppressed. That's why they have the loudest voices. If it it boggles my mind how this happens. So perhaps with Elon Musk, the purchasing of Twitter will open up. I'm hoping that it opens up the corruption that's been happening at different companies, um, even here on YouTube. Uh, I'm sure that I some of the things that I'm saying on this stream are not exactly appropriate, but they're true. So who cares? It doesn't matter what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. It matters what's true. The truth shouldn't be censored, no matter what it is. I don't I don't want the truth to be censored, even if the truth is horrible. It's the whole there was a time, I'm old enough to remember this, where on the news they used to show dead bodies, human beings. We'd see it all the time. Now, I I didn't really look at those in one way or another. I was just like, okay, that's part of the news story, or it's part of the whatever it is. Like it's a dead person. They don't do that anymore. They've censored out death on our news nowadays. You're not allowed to show dead bodies. Well, now that's interesting because death comes for us all. Now they censored it because they said some people were using it, right? Like it was being abused. Like some people really liked death and they were like, "Oh, I want to go watch these videos cuz dead people are in them." And so they thought it was like a mental illness of people. Or maybe it created serial killers or something like that. Who knows? I'm not quite sure of their justification. It doesn't really matter at this point. Dead people don't exist on the news anymore. Now, what has that created? In my opinion, that's created a disconnected world because now people don't understand what death looks like. And so when it happens, people are either A, shocked, right? Or B, they search after it. It creates the very thing that you wanted to avoid. It creates these weirdos who like go out and do crazy things because they don't understand what death looks like. That's why you should show life in all its many variations without censorship. Is it horrible to look at a dead body? Yeah. Seen many of them in my time. It's, um and in some cases, it's not horrible. Like, I've looked at, like, dissection videos as far as, like, when I'm trying to learn about health and welfare, especially for yoga. um, I don't know if the videos are still up on YouTube, they may have been taken down, but there was a lot of, there were videos that showed the dissection of human bodies, and it showed, the different, muscle section, like this, they would take the skin away, and then there's the fascia underneath, and then you would go into the tendons and the muscles. They'd go through every single layer. It's very fascinating. And in that case, I was using it for learning. Um, but in other cases, you use uh, dead bodies just to portray how horrible a thing is, or whatnot. It is what it is. What I want to see is the resurrection of dead bodies again. Like, I want to see us be able to show things that may upset people. I'm tired of this fluffiness nowadays, the nerfing of the world, as I call it, where, and maybe other people's call it as well, where we have to pad the corners of society because everyone's a toddler now. That's not the way the world works. W- We're not all toddlers. We can handle this stuff. I feel like you're withholding information from me so that you can manipulate it, which is exactly what's going on. And that's what we all need to wake up to. Anyway, with that, I've been on for what, a little over an hour now, so no one showed up, but I didn't expect anyone to. I will be putting up some videos of yoga sometime in the very near future. I'm going to be doing some videos that are just basic, um getting into yoga. I'm going to do some of the proper forms, the proper way to do some of the basic vinyasas, and also movements. So I'm not sure what I'm going to put together yet, but I'm going to put together uh, some sort of program. I'm still working it out myself because I am working on, if anyone has had shoulder injuries or hip injuries, that's what I'm dealing with. So, as you may well know, if you've suffered from shoulder or hip injuries, these are debilitating. It pretty much shuts off your ability to do much of anything. Hip injuries prevent you from being mobile, and shoulder injuries prevent you from doing pretty much anything that requires you picking things up. So, and to suffer from both of them at the same time, it was not a fun time. Let me tell you what. So here I am. I'm able to raise my hands over my head. I'm able to walk around the block again. So, whew, back again. Um, so we're going to be putting together some information for people who are recovering from such injuries, um, here on Centered Sapien, which is, I hope, where I always try to come from. As I have said in the past and will continue to say, the best way to be and the best way to pursue the future is to balance both sides, move towards the future in a balanced way. Peace out, my beautiful minds. Whoever watches this, if no one, so be it. Bye all.